What is going on YouTube? My name is Pedro and welcome back once again to the channel where we never turn off the console. Today I'm bringing you a game that possibly is the biggest name that came out this year alongside with Animal Crossing. I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, with the original being such a masterpiece, did Square Enix deliver a game that fans can play for years to come like it happened with the source material, or did they change the story too much for their own good? I will answer all these questions for you guys in this video, but first let me remind you that if you are enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload that I do to YouTube, and drop a like on the video. Can we get to 30 likes so I can get motivated to bring you a new review every week? So without more delays, let's get into my honest opinion about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This was the game that made me buy a PS4. Until a week ago, I only had the Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch, and because of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I couldn't contain myself anymore, not because I was a big fan of the original, but because I'm a fan of Square Enix games. I love the Kingdom Hearts franchise, I've played several other games from them, like Octopath Traveler, and most recently the remake of Trials of Mana that I really enjoyed. You can check my review on the channel, I will leave a link in the description. And regarding Final Fantasy entries, I have played a few. One of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy X. I have played as well Final Fantasy IX and 15 and I really enjoyed them. Damn, I even played Final Fantasy XIII and I have to say that although it's not a great game, it's not that awful, it's just a meh. But I have tried other entries, but never went through the whole story. And that was where I stood with Final Fantasy VII. I bought the Nintendo Switch port, played it for a few hours, but I didn't finish it. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because new games were coming out and I started playing those instead. But I always had the idea to get back to it. So I went into this game like a newcomer, and I have to say that after I finish it, I am a new fan as well. So 23 years after the classic game from the PS1, we have at our hands Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I have to tell you that I don't see it as a remake, but more as a reimagination of the original material. Everything is done in a much bigger scale, so big that this game only covers 15 to 20% of the original story. In the classic, this part of the story only takes you like 6 hours to go through, but now it is really stretched and it will take you around 35 hours to finish it. So you can imagine how much more content there is in this remake. This game takes place in Midgar, an extremely industrialized city where the differentiation between poor and rich people is introduced to the player in a very visual and extreme way. The poor people live beneath a gigantic metal platform where the rich people live. The game starts with Cloud, our main character, joining forces with a group of environmental terrorists called the Avalanche. The main objective of this group is to stop Shinra, the corporation responsible for the industrialization of Midgar, that is hurting the planet by using the Mako resources to make their city grow more and more. Mako is like the planet's blood, so Avalanche is trying to do whatever they can to prevent Shinra to extract it as they please. For that, they contract Cloud, an ex-soldier that turned his back on Shinra and now is taking on any type of job as long as it pays well. So as his first assignment, he joins forces with Barret, Jesse, Biggs and Wedge from Avalanche to take down a Mako reactor and send a message to Shinra. After you succeed on blowing up the reactor, you go back to the slums on the lower part of the city where the plot starts to develop. And you get to know more about all the characters, and along with the story progression, you start to care more and more about them. I have to say that I haven't been invested in a game story so much, probably since Red Dead Redemption 2. Of course you would always care about characters like Barret, Aerith and Tifa, and especially Tifa, am I right? But you also care about all other secondary characters like Biggs, Jesse and Wedge, because they take a big part on your adventure. And there is something that this remake does amazingly well. It gives every character a meaning for you to care about them. All of them have very memorable personalities and you start getting real connections with them. The biggest contribution for this type of connections is the great dialogue and the excellent cutscenes. They are so immersive that you will find yourself thinking if you are watching a movie or playing a video game. And of course, the Final Fantasy series has made cutscenes a big part of their games for years now. But this time is different. They have made it an even bigger part. Everything feels well connected and it is presented in a way that you don't want it to stop, you just want the story to continue. The interaction between characters is really well done. You really notice the bonds between them. For example, we have the relationship of Barret, Tifa and all the Avalanche members and their common ideas. We have Tifa and Aerith with their friendship growing throughout the game. And Cloud with every single one of the female characters. It is so funny to see how he deals with it. The girls are always over his balls, and we notice that he doesn't have the best people skills. Damn, even the Turks, Reno and Rude, have a friendship connection between them that is really well displayed along the game. And I have to talk about the villains. They are all mwah. Shinra's executives are all despicable, except for Reeve, that is a good person that cares about the people of Midgar. But the others are just, I want to kick your ass! Especially that Professor Ojo, I just want to beat him up! And next we have Don Corneo, that is just a scumbag ruler of the Wall Market. The Wall Market is a place that takes some inspiration in the red light district in Amsterdam, and for me it is the funniest part of the game. And finally we have the legendary Sephiroth, that in this game we still don't know his true intentions, neither understand that well what is his connection with Cloud. But his character appears a lot when Cloud gets those flashbacks that mess with him all throughout the game, and you see that this is the only person that can make Cloud look frightened, so you know that he is the real deal. I have to say that all the environments in Final Fantasy VII are brilliant. It is set in a really dark scenario, but everything works beautifully. You can clearly see the differentiation from the top and bottom sides of Midgar, with the slums showing the poverty that the people of the bottom part of Midgar has to go through, while the top part lives life with all the comfort they need. It is like the two faces of a coin, completely different. But it is in the slums that is situated, in my opinion, the best part of all Midgar. The Wall Market, that is a shopping center known as a dangerous place, especially for girls, that is ruled by outlaws. But although the rumors, I have to say that I had a blast during the time that I spent in the Wall Market. In here, you will have to fight in the Colosseum like a gladiator, you will have a dance minigame that is hilarious, and you will receive a very peculiar hand massage. With that face, I'm sure that Cloud is not having an hand massage, am I right? One of the biggest change from the original to this remake is the combat system. Away with the turn-based combat and welcome action-based system, and I love it. With this new system, the combat feels fast and smooth, and it is really enjoyable. But if you think that it will lack in terms of strategy, you are totally wrong, my friend. To perform some actions, like special abilities and magic, you will need to enter a menu that automatically slows the game, and you will have time to choose which action is the most useful for the situation that you are inserted on. And don't worry, because it won't break the rhythm of the battles by any means. And to complement the combat system, we have the soundtrack that is fantastic. Every moment feels epic just because of it, and it is amazing how truthful it is to the original. Of course it is enhanced, but you will notice that the songs are the same. Another great thing about this game is the materia system, that is super versatile in a way that you can build your characters as you see fit. You can make them more focused on physical damage or magic damage, and there are a ton of different combinations of materia that are super useful. The upgrade system for your weapons is great as well, giving you the chance to prioritize the stats that you feel are better for what you want. There are a ton of things to do in this game after you finish it. Once you got to the end, you will unlock hard mode as well as chapter selection, so you can revisit every part of the game and get what you didn't got in the first time around. You will have some side quests to do that are nice but not amazing. They are far from the standards of The Witcher 3 side quests, for example. But there's more. You will have challenges to do both in the Colosseum and the VR simulator in Shinra's headquarters, and these are really cool to do. And a lot of collectibles to get, like the usual chests, and now you can even collect the songs that you will hear throughout the entire game. But this game is not perfect, it's really close to it, but there are a few things that I found annoying during my playthrough. To start, the most noticeable and annoying thing has to be the lock-on camera in combat. It works fine when you are in open areas and you have a lot of room to go around, but if you are fighting in tight spaces, it doesn't work that well, because once you lock the camera, you cannot move it around. the game will move the camera for you. And in straight corridors, and especially when you are cornered, it can get frustrating from time to time. Another thing that I didn't enjoy that much were the puzzles that you need to solve with those mecha arms. They are too slow and it is kinda boring. And let me warn you about those straight paths. I understand that in certain situations they fit well in what is going on, but there are so many of these that are just there for the sake of it. This could be easily corrected. The animation of Cloud going through them could be just a tad faster and I wouldn't even notice them. But it takes an eternity to go through them. But these are just some details that can be easily fixed for the next game. I really loved my time with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I felt connected to the characters, I felt connected to the story, and I loved to go around Midgard and experience everything that this game has to offer. I have to say that I loved it so much that I'm not even waiting for Square Enix to release the part 2 of this remake. I'm going straight to the original to experience the source material. But I'm a little bit worried about how many games will be needed for us to get the full Final Fantasy VII experience remade. Because if in this game is only 15 to 20% of the original, how many more games will Square Enix do until they are finished? How many years will it take? We will need to wait and see, but in the meantime I'm definitely going to play the original. And now, with all things considered, and after 35 hours of gameplay just to finish the main story, I give to Final Fantasy VII Remake a rating of 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about this game. Did Square Enix change too much of the source material? Are you fine with all the modifications that we have? How many games and years it's going to take for us to have the full experience of Final Fantasy VII? Let's hope that Square Enix has some answers for us as soon as possible, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye!